Do you reheat your leftovers without a second thought? That quick microwave zap might seem harmless. But what if I told you it's silently wrecking your joints, your digestion, and even your memory? Every day, millions of seniors unknowingly reheat common foods that undergo toxic transformations the moment they're exposed to heat a second time. And here's the worst part. No one talks about it. Not your doctor, not your nutritionist, not the label, because these aren't exotic or processed junk foods. They're normal, everyday meals, the same ones you've trusted for decades. One reheat and the healthy dish you ate yesterday becomes a chemical minefield. And the people most vulnerable to this hidden threat? Seniors over 60. Why? Because our digestive enzymes weaken, our liver detox slows down, and our immune system no longer fights off foodborne toxins the way it once did. Which means what a 30-year-old can shrug off might send you into a spiral of gut issues, swelling, memory fog, or worse, long-term inflammation that damages your brain, kidneys, or colon silently over time. So before you reheat that plate of rice, spinach, or even potatoes, watch this to the end. Because one of these 7 everyday foods is not only silently toxic, it's also been linked to deadly gut bacteria, stroke risk, and memory decline, especially in adults over 60. And chances are you've already eaten it this week. If you're over 60, this message isn't just helpful, it's urgent. See, your body doesn't recover from food damage the way it used to, what your stomach once handled in your 30s or 40s. Your body now sees as a threat. And the worst offenders? They're not fast food or soda. They're the home-cooked meals we lovingly store in a fridge and unknowingly poison ourselves with the next day. Here on Senior Health Daily, we uncover truths you were never told, backed by science, simplified for seniors. We make videos like this for one reason, so you don't have to suffer silently or rely on medications that treat symptoms instead of the cause. Today, we'll count down the 7 most commonly reheated foods that turn toxic, especially dangerous for seniors. Some of them cause nausea, food poisoning, or gut rot. Others? They've been linked to long-term issues like chronic joint pain, memory loss, and even colon cancer. You'll never look at leftovers the same again after seeing #2. But the one at number 1? That food might be the single most dangerous thing sitting in your fridge right now. Spinach is supposed to be a superfood, rich in iron, folate, fiber, and antioxidants. But what almost no one tells you is that reheating cooked spinach can turn it into a health hazard, especially for seniors over 60. Here's why. Spinach naturally contains high levels of nitrates, which on their own aren't dangerous. In fact, they can be good for circulation and blood pressure. But once spinach is cooked and then cooled down, those same nitrates begin to convert into nitrites, and then further into nitrosamines during reheating, especially in the microwave. What are nitrosamines? They're classified as carcinogenic compounds, substances that can damage your DNA, increase inflammation, and heighten your risk of cancer, particularly in the stomach and colon. The World Health Organization has even raised concerns about excessive nitrosamine exposure from food. But here's the kicker. You won't taste anything strange. The spinach looks the same. You never know the damage you're causing until the symptoms creep in. Seniors are at a unique risk here. Why? Because as we age, the protective enzymes in our digestive system decline, and our body becomes slower at filtering out toxins. What your body used to flush out at 30 can now linger for hours or days, doing silent damage. Let's take it one step further. Spinach is often stored in plastic containers in the fridge. Now imagine this. You cooked the spinach, let it cool, store it in plastic, and then microwaved it. That's a triple hit of toxicity. Nitrates turning into nitrosamines. Plastic leaching estrogen-like chemicals, especially when reheated. Microwave heat creating uneven hot spots, which don't fully kill bacteria that might have started growing in your leftover greens. And if you ever felt slightly nauseous, bloated, or off after reheated spinach, this might explain it. But beyond digestion, studies have pointed to reheated nitrate-rich vegetables like spinach contributing to oxidative stress in the brain. which is directly linked to memory decline and neurodegenerative issues in seniors. So what should you do? The safe option. If you've cooked spinach, eat it immediately. If you have leftovers, eat them cold, like in a smoothie or chilled dish, within 24 hours. Do not reheat. And absolutely avoid microwaving it. Pro tip. Try cooking smaller batches of spinach, so you don't need to store leftovers. Or use fresh raw spinach in salads or smoothies, which still deliver the benefits without the heat-triggered nitrate problem. Spinach can still be a health booster, but reheated, it becomes a hidden threat sitting quietly in your fridge. And it's just the beginning, because the next food on our list is even more deceptive. It's something seniors eat all the time thinking it's healthy, but it's quietly wrecking your digestive tract every time you reheat it. Rice is a staple in millions of senior diets. It's easy to make, soft to chew, and goes with just about anything. But reheating rice can quietly become one of the most dangerous things you do in your kitchen. And it's not about nitrates or chemical changes this time. It's something even sneakier. The real danger? Bacillus cereus, a bacteria that thrives in cooked, cooled, and reheated rice. Here's how it works. When rice is cooked, it's moist and starchy, a perfect environment for bacterial spores to grow. If that rice is left at room temperature for too long, even 1 to 2 hours, those spores begin to multiply. And unlike other bacteria, Bacillus cereus can survive even after reheating, especially in the microwave, which heats food unevenly. Once ingested, this bacteria can cause food poisoning, nausea, cramps, vomiting, and diarrhea. And in seniors, that can lead to serious dehydration, hospitalization, or worse. But here's the scary part. You can't see or smell that it's gone bad. It looks fine. It tastes fine. But inside, it may have already turned toxic. A 2011 study published in the Journal of Food Protection found that improperly stored or reheated rice was one of the leading causes of foodborne illness outbreaks across several countries, especially in older adults with weakened immune systems. Why are seniors more at risk? As we age, our stomach acid weakens, our gut lining becomes more vulnerable, and our overall immune response is slower. A younger person might just feel queasy after eating bad rice. But for someone over 60, that same bacteria can trigger weeks of digestive inflammation, disrupt nutrient absorption, or worsen underlying gut issues like IBS or diverticulitis. In fact, even short-term food poisoning in seniors can lead to long-term problems like electrolyte imbalances, unintended weight loss, medication interactions, or being forced to skip meals while recovering. And all that from just one bowl of reheated rice. So what's the safer path? Here's how to avoid the risk. Refrigerate cooked rice within 1 hour. Don't leave out on the counter. Never reheat rice more than once. If reheating, make sure it reaches steaming hot temperatures throughout. Don't rely on the microwave alone. Or better yet, only cook as much rice as you'll eat in one sitting. It takes just 10 to 15 minutes to make a fresh batch. Bonus tip: if you want to keep leftover rice, cool it quickly and store in shallow containers in the fridge. That prevents bacterial growth. Rice isn't the enemy, but how you reheat it could be silently sabotaging your health, one spoonful at a time. Now, you might think rice is the most dangerous, but food number 5 is something even more common in senior kitchens. And when you reheat it, it produces oxidized fats that can clog arteries and age your brain faster. Let's take a look. You probably know red meat can be heavy if you eat too much of it. But did you know reheating cooked red meat, especially beef or lamb, can actually increase its toxicity? And the damage doesn't stop at your stomach. Once reheated, red meat can trigger a chemical cascade that silently affects your heart, joints, memory, and even mood. Let's unpack this. When red meat is first cooked, especially at high heat, like grilling or pan frying, it naturally forms compounds called AGEs, advanced glycation end products. That might sound technical, but here's why it matters. AGEs are inflammatory molecules that build up in the body over time. They cause damage to your cells, accelerate joint degeneration, and have even been linked to Alzheimer's, kidney disease, and arthritis. Now here's the problem. When you reheat red meat, especially in the microwave or on high heat, the level of ages skyrockets. You're not just warming your food, you're doubling the cellular damage it causes to your tissues. According to a 2010 study in the Journal of Gerontology, diets high in ages significantly increase cognitive decline in seniors, especially those with existing inflammation or diabetes. And reheated meats were one of the biggest hidden sources. After 60, your body becomes less efficient at detoxifying metabolic waste. Your antioxidant levels drop. So every bite of reheated red meat adds to an internal fire, inflaming joints, arteries, and brain tissue. Ever notice increased stiffness after meals, brain fog, or low energy in the afternoon, digestive upset or reflux after leftovers? It might not be the portion. It might be the reheat. And let's not forget how many seniors are already at risk for atherosclerosis, high blood pressure, and memory loss. Now add a steady diet of reheated steak, burger patties, or lamb chops, and it's like fanning the flames. What's the better way? Avoid reheating red meat entirely if possible. Cook fresh portions, or eat the leftovers cold, like sliced roast beef in a salad or sandwich. If you must reheat, use low heat. Add moisture, like a little broth or water. Avoid the microwave. Pan or oven reheat is slightly better, but still increases AG levels. Try to balance it with antioxidants, like adding steamed broccoli, lemon juice, or herbs to offset the oxidative damage. Or better yet, choose leaner, lighter proteins like eggs, turkey, or fish, which produce fewer AGEs, even when reheated. Red meat doesn't have to be the villain, but reheated. It becomes an aging accelerant your body just can't afford after 60. The next food on our list might surprise you even more, because it's something you probably thought was completely healthy. It's green, it's light, but reheated, it can shut down your red blood cells and trigger serious fatigue. Baked, boiled, mashed, or roasted, potatoes are a warm, familiar staple in nearly every senior's kitchen. They're filling, affordable, and easy on the teeth. But what if I told you that reheating potatoes might be slowly poisoning your gut and robbing your blood of oxygen? It sounds extreme until you look at what's really happening inside that leftover bowl of mash. First, why potatoes are a problem after cooking. Like spinach, potatoes are high in nitrates, but they also contain a unique mix of starches and carbohydrates that change form as they cool and are reheated. When cooked potatoes are left out, even for a short while, they become breeding grounds for Clostridium botulinum, the bacteria responsible for botulism, one of the most dangerous forms of food poisoning known. While rare, when this bacteria grows in improperly stored potatoes, particularly in foil-wrapped baked potatoes left at room temperature, the consequences can be fatal. But even without bacteria, the problem is this. When you reheat potatoes, especially in the microwave, you trigger a rise in oxidized starches and nitrite compounds. These can interfere with oxygen delivery in your blood, healthy red blood cell production, proper digestion, and even trigger headaches, fatigue, or nausea in seniors. Why seniors are more vulnerable. As we age, the body becomes less efficient at detoxifying nitrites, and our stomach acidity, which normally kills bacteria, begins to decline. This means what used to be a minor issue at 40 becomes a full-body burden after 60. If you ever felt sluggish, unusually tired, or even dizzy after eating reheated potatoes, this could be why. And here's something almost no one tells you. Reheated potatoes, when eaten frequently, can increase the formation of acrylamides, a toxic compound linked to nerve damage and potential cancer risk. That's why the U.S. Food Safety and Inspection Service specifically advises caution when storing and reheating starchy foods like potatoes, especially for the elderly and immunocompromised. How to make potatoes safe again. Eat freshly cooked potatoes, and only prepare what you'll finish in one meal. If you must store them, cool them quickly. Store them in an airtight glass container, not foil. Eat within 24 hours. Never leave baked or mashed potatoes out for more than 1 hour at room temperature. Reheat with care. Use a pan or oven, not the microwave. Add a splash of water to prevent drying and scorching. Heat thoroughly and evenly. Potatoes can still be part of a healthy senior diet when they're fresh, but reheated, they may be doing far more harm than good, one innocent bite at a time. And while potatoes might drain your energy, food number 3 can do something even worse. It creates protein structures your body can't digest, leading to joint flare-ups and even heart strain in people over 60. Let's break it down. Chicken is often hailed as a healthier alternative to red meat, low in fat, high in protein, and easy to digest. But that changes drastically once it's cooked, stored, and reheated, especially if you're over 60, because reheating chicken can silently turn your body against itself. When cooked chicken is reheated, particularly in the microwave or at high temperatures, the protein structure inside the meat changes. That's not just culinary science. It's biology. Your body breaks down proteins into amino acids using enzymes in your stomach and pancreas. But when proteins are denatured a second time through reheating, their structure becomes distorted, making them harder to digest and more likely to trigger inflammatory responses in the gut and joints. This is especially risky for seniors with weakened digestion, leaky gut syndrome, autoimmune flare-ups, or chronic joint pain. It explains why some people feel fine eating fresh chicken, but bloated, stiff, or even nauseous after reheated leftovers. When chicken cools and is later reheated, the natural fats inside the meat begin to oxidize. This creates lipid peroxides, unstable molecules that damage cells and accelerate aging. A 2018 study in the Journal of Food Science and Technology found that reheated poultry, especially microwave reheated, showed a dramatic increase in oxidized lipid content, and these oxidized fats have been linked to artery damage, cognitive decline, increased LDL cholesterol, and a higher risk of heart complications in older adults. Worse, microwaves reheat food unevenly, meaning some parts of the chicken may not reach safe temperatures, allowing harmful bacteria to survive, including Salmonella or Campylobacter, both of which can cause extreme reactions in seniors. Why is this worse for people over 60? Because after 60, your stomach acid is weaker, which means your body struggles more with tough, altered proteins. Your liver detox slows down, so oxidized fats circulate longer in your system. Your immune response is slower, making it harder to fight off bacteria hiding in poorly reheated meat. A simple piece of reheated chicken, especially one stored for more than 2 days, could cause fatigue, bowel disruption, increased joint pain, or even trigger an inflammatory cascade that worsens arthritis, gout, or chronic pain conditions. Here are the safer ways to eat chicken. Eat it fresh whenever possible. Cook smaller portions to avoid leftovers. If storing, refrigerate within 90 minutes. Store in airtight containers. Eat within 48 hours. Avoid microwaving chicken. Instead, reheat slowly in a pan with broth or water to reduce the risk of dry proteins and uneven heating. Always ensure it reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit, 74 degrees Celsius, all the way through, especially in the thickest parts. Chicken is healthy when it's fresh, but reheated, it can go from helpful to harmful, especially for a senior's delicate digestive and cardiovascular system. And now, we're entering dangerous territory. Food number 2 might seem innocent, but when you reheat it, especially in soups or casseroles, it releases toxic sulfur compounds that can damage your blood and brain. Eggs are often considered nature's perfect food, packed with protein, healthy fats, choline for your brain, and essential amino acids. They're a go-to for seniors trying to build muscle and stay sharp. But what happens when you cook eggs, store them, and reheat them the next day? Unfortunately, if you're over 60, the answer might be nothing good. Let's break it down. Eggs, especially hard-boiled or scrambled, contain sulfur compounds and iron. when reheated, particularly at high heat like in a microwave or stovetop. A chemical reaction can occur between the sulfur in the egg whites and the iron in the yolk. This forms ferrous sulfide, a compound that not only gives reheated eggs an odd rotten smell, but is also toxic to red blood cells in large or repeated amounts. And the older you get, the more your body struggles to detoxify these compounds. That's not all. Proteins in eggs, especially albumin in the whites, are sensitive to heat. When exposed to a second wave of cooking, their structure becomes even more difficult to digest. This can lead to bloating, nausea, gas, or gut inflammation, especially if your microbiome is already imbalanced. Seniors with leaky gut, IBS, or autoimmune disorders are particularly vulnerable to this. One study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition warned that repeated heating of protein-rich foods like eggs can increase the presence of advanced glycation end products ages, toxic compounds that accelerate aging, brain decline, and joint damage. In simpler terms, reheating your eggs may actually age your cells faster. After 60, your liver's detox capacity is lower. Your enzyme production slows down. Your gut lining becomes thinner and more sensitive. Your ability to handle dietary irritants decreases significantly, which means even small exposures to food-based toxins, like reheated sulfur compounds or ages, can cause joint flare-ups, mental fog, digestive distress, or poor blood sugar control. And for seniors already battling high cholesterol, reheating eggs can worsen the oxidation of cholesterol inside the yolk, increasing the risk of arterial stiffness and plaque. So, is there a safe way to eat eggs? Yes, freshly cooked eggs are perfectly healthy for most seniors. But once cooked, avoid storing scrambled or fried eggs for later. Never reheat boiled eggs in the microwave. If you must reheat, do so gently over low heat. Always smell and inspect egg for changes before consuming. Better yet, cook only the portion you plan to eat in one sitting. Eggs are a nutritional powerhouse when fresh, but potential toxin when reheated carelessly. Especially for those of us entering our golden years, one harmless microwave moment could lead to a day of gut upset, fatigue, or worse. Now, you might be wondering what could possibly be worse than reheated eggs. Well, we've saved the most dangerous one for last. Food number one, a food many seniors reheat every single week, can release compounds that inflame your nervous system, damage your kidneys, and lead to slow-burning cognitive decline if you're not careful. And yet, nobody talks about it. Let's be honest, rice is comfort food. Whether it's white, brown, jollof, basmati, or jasmine, it's a staple on millions of plates every single day, including among seniors who prefer lighter, easier-to-digest meals. But here's what most people don't know. Reheating rice can quietly poison you, not because of the rice itself, but because of something invisible that begins growing in it the moment it cools down. And once it starts, no amount of microwaving will fix it. Rice often contains Bacillus cereus, a spore-forming bacterium commonly found in soil. When rice is cooked, the heat typically kills off active bacteria. But here's the danger. Spores from Bacillus cereus can survive the cooking process. If cooked rice is then left out at room temperature for more than 1 hour, these spores germinate and multiply rapidly, producing toxins that target the stomach, intestines, and nervous system. And when you reheat the rice, you might kill some bacteria. Yes, but you can't destroy the toxins they've already left behind. This is why reheated rice has been responsible for diarrhea outbreaks, vomiting and food poisoning, and in severe cases, hospitalization for seniors with weak immunity. Let's be clear, Bacillus cereus poisoning doesn't affect everyone the same. Younger people with robust immune systems might get mild discomfort for a few hours, but seniors, especially those over 60, the effects can be much more severe due to several aging factors: weakened immune response, slower liver detoxification, less stomach acid, making it easier for bacteria to survive, pre-existing gut issues like diverticulitis or IBS, chronic illnesses like diabetes, kidney disease, or hypertension, which lower your body's resilience. For someone in their 30s, reheated rice might mean a short stomach ache. For someone in their 70s, it could mean a trip to the emergency room with dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, or bacterial overgrowth that leads to weeks of weakness. In fact, a study published in the Journal of Clinical Gastroenterology found that Bacillus cereus-related illness disproportionately impacts elderly populations, especially those in assisted living and care homes, often due to bulk food preparation and poor reheating habits. Want to know the worst mistake? It's this common routine. Cook a large pot of rice for the week. Leave it on the counter to cool. Store in the fridge hours later. Microwave small portions throughout the week. That cooling period between cooking and refrigeration is prime breeding time for bacterial spores. Even 90 minutes on the counter can turn rice into a bacterial bomb. And once those spores activate and leave toxins, they don't go away. Not even if you nuke the rice till it's steaming. You're essentially reheating poison. What makes this even more dangerous is that the symptoms of reheated rice toxicity often mimic common aging complaints: fatigue, mild nausea, brain fog, muscle weakness, sudden bathroom urgency. Most seniors just assume they're having a bad day, when in fact, their leftover rice might be slowly damaging their microbiome and immune defenses. Worse, repeated exposure to bacterial toxins like these has been linked in recent research to low-grade inflammation, which underlies dementia, joint pain, and insulin resistance, three of the biggest health threats after 60. Safer options and smart tips. Here's how to protect yourself while still enjoying rice safely. Cook only what you'll eat in one sitting. Don't bulk cook and refrigerate unless necessary. If you must store rice, cool it rapidly within 1 hour after cooking. Refrigerate immediately in a shallow container. Reheat only once, and throw out any leftovers thereafter. Never let reheated rice sit at room temp again. Consider swapping in quinoa, millet, or cauliflower rice, which are less prone to bacterial issues and offer more senior-friendly nutrients. Reheated rice is one of those silent saboteurs. It doesn't look bad. It doesn't smell off. It doesn't warn you. But inside, it may harbor compounds that overwhelm your aging digestive system, compromise your immune cells, and drain your strength without warning, all while appearing perfectly safe. And sadly, many seniors make this mistake several times a week, thinking they're being economical or efficient. Don't be one of them. If you've made it this far, that means you care about your health deeply. But here's the real question. If we disappeared tomorrow, would you notice? Every video we make takes over 30 hours. No scriptwriter, no sponsor, no $1 million studio. Just real research, real heart, for people who've been overlooked. So if this helped you, if you learned what your doctor rushed past, if you felt heard, don't be the silent viewer. Be the reason we're still here tomorrow. Subscribe. This message has already found you, but there are other seniors who would also immensely benefit from this hidden knowledge. How can you help us reach them with this message? Simply by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. That way YouTube shows it to more seniors and others who desperately need it. Be the reason someone else finds this gem today, just like you did. 2. Tap the like button and subscribe. Thank you.